What do we got here? Some water. Bernie? You guys with the register, right?
It's a hot one out there, isn't it?
It is a hot one. As you can see, worked up a bit of a sweat.
All right. Working hard.
Yep.
Rolling whenever you're ready. Go ahead.
I wonder if you could first tell us a little bit about, you have these big plans for healthcare, for free tuition for everyone. You have all of these plans that are very costly. How are you going to pay for that?
Good question.
Can America actually
That's a
afford
fair
that?
question. Yes, we can. This is the richest country in the history of the world. But most people don't know that because almost all of the wealth and much of the income is going to the top 1%. So let me be frank. If you are a billionaire in this country, if you are a millionaire in this country, if you are a large corporation that today is making billions and paying nothing in taxes, you know what? Under President Sanders, you are going to start having to pay your fair share of taxes. And one of the important programs that we're going to bring forth is a tax on Wall Street speculation, which will bring in more than enough money to make sure that public colleges and universities can be tuition free.
Can businesses in America cope in that kind of an environment? do you
Yes, they can. When you have major corporations, and I'm talking about some of the largest in the country, General Electric among others, who make billions of dollars in profits and don't pay a nickel in federal taxes, that's indefensible.
Can you talk a little bit more about your specific plans on climate change
Yes.
and what you would do that would go even beyond what President Obama has?
Yeah, I think, let me just say two things about that. First of all, it goes without saying that as perhaps the most progressive member of the Senate, my views differ from my Republican colleagues significantly in every issue. But on this issue of climate change, I have to say that it is an international embarrassment that almost all Republicans refuse to acknowledge what the scientific community is saying in an almost unanimous voice, and that is that climate change is real, it is caused by human activity, and it is already causing devastating problems. How could it be that the party that controls the U.S. Senate and U.S. House refuses to even acknowledge the reality of climate change, let alone come up with a program to combat it? What we would do, what I would do, is for a start, move aggressively toward energy efficiency. We are wasting huge amounts of energy in this country in terms of buildings that are not properly insulated, in cars that are getting 20, 25 miles per gallon. So energy efficiency can save us huge amounts of energy. Second of all, we have to be very aggressive in moving to sustainable energies such as wind, and I congratulate the people in Iowa for being one of the leaders in the country in that area. Solar. My state is doing fairly well there. Geothermal, other forms of technology. The truth of the matter is we know what we have to do. And we have to lead the world. We can't do it alone. We have to work with China, India, Russia, other countries. But the future of the planet is at stake. And what the scientists tell us, if we don't get our act together by the end of the century, this planet will be 5 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit warmer, which will cause devastating problems.
Your stump speech now includes a little bit more talk about race relations, criminal justice reform. Is that in response to Black Lives Matter?
Look, I have had for my entire career, check it out, go back years ago, one of the strongest records in the United States Congress on civil rights. And I come from a state, frankly, where there just are not a whole lot of African Americans. But this issue has been part of my life ever since I was a young man. So I think clearly what we have to do is move forward in two parallel ways. Number one, we have to combat institutional racism as strongly as we can. We cannot continue to see these videos of unarmed black people getting shot, getting thrown to the ground, unacceptable. That has got to change. Second of all, we need major reforms in our criminal justice system so that in America we do not have more people in jail than any other country on earth. And by the way, those numbers are disproportionately African American and Hispanic. That has got to change.
Are you surprised by Black Lives Matter interrupting your events? Or
Look, the issue that they're talking about is a huge issue. And there are too many innocent, unarmed blacks who have been killed. They have a right to be upset.
you criticize the state of American politics, the state of the American political media. What do you make of primary politics and Iowa's role?
Well, I like what happens here in Iowa, and I'll tell you why. What you guys do is go beyond where my state goes and just having a primary where people come out to vote. That's fine. You demand more of people. You demand of people in the caucus process not only to know the issues of Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton or anybody else, but you ask them to really be thinking hard about the differences, who their second choice is. You ask them to actually come out and do more than cast a vote, but to spend perhaps a couple of hours talking with their neighbors about why they're supporting Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton or Jeb Bush, whoever it may be. I happen to be a strong believer in democracy. I want to see our people highly engaged in the political process, and I think Iowa does a pretty good job in doing that.
And a new poll puts you a little bit ahead of Hillary in New Hampshire. What do you have to do to get that kind of results, those kind of results here in Iowa?
Look, our campaign, people should appreciate that. We've only been in this 3.5 months. 3.5 months. Like, I am the senator of a small state when I began. I think it's fair to say 70-80% of the American people not only didn't know what I believe, what I was talking about, they didn't know who I was. Well, you don't do well in polls when people don't know who you are. But I think as we go around the country, as we go around Iowa, more people are familiar with the issues that we're raising, and I think it's fair to say that those issues are resonating here in Iowa, New Hampshire, and all over this country. Maybe one more?
You gonna do anything fun at the fair?
Yes.
What are you gonna do?
Eat! What do you do? We'll see what they got.
Mr. Sanders, will you sign my campaign poster, please? You are dream come true. Oh, this is amazing. Thank you, sir. Much love from Missouri.
Okay. All right. I've got to get going.
Yes, please. Can I get a picture with you?
I think probably not. Okay, thank you. Where are we going?
This way.
Okay.
Watch your step here.
Here, you follow Becker and I'll follow you.
We're at the Democratic booth in a little while. I'll meet him at the Democratic booth.
Thank you. I'm off this way.
Sorry, excuse me, sir. We'll meet at the Democratic booth in a few minutes. Over the Everybody say a hurry up.
We're not actually we're at the fair.
We're not the
We're not in the actual thing. Whatever it is.
smell like here.
It is a little bit.
Let's give let's have a little air here.
Back up, come on. Okay.
Ready?
I'm ready.
Senator, what do you think your crowds say about the nature of this Democratic race?
I'll tell you what it says. It says that the people are sick and tired of establishment politics, establishment economics, and occasionally establishment media. And what the people want is a nation in which government represents working people and the middle class, the vast majority of our people, and not just a handful of billionaires. And what these crowds also tell us is, I believe, people are sick and tired of a campaign finance system which is corrupt. It is corrupt because as a result of Citizens United, it allows billionaires to buy elections. And very few people, whether they're conservative or progressive, believe that is what American democracy is supposed to be about.
Is your campaign a summertime insurgence, or can you transition to being a real threat in this race?
Well, let me tell you, when you have 350,000 people who are making individual contributions, when you bring out 28,000 people in Portland and Los Angeles, when you have 100,000 people doing a digital town meeting in 3,700 locations all over this country, we are building a grassroots movement. And to be very honest with you, one of our problems is that the movement is going faster than our infrastructure. So what we have got to do is, and we're doing it, we have hired a number of organizers right here in Iowa I think we're up to 24 or more. We're hiring people in New Hampshire, in Nevada, South Carolina. We have to keep up with where the movement is going. But at the end of the day, they will have the money. They will have the money. But I think we have the people. And I think people will defeat big money.
Do you think we're changing the way Hillary Clinton is campaigning?
You'll have to ask Hillary Clinton that. All I know is what I am saying today is what I've been saying for my whole political life. And that is we need to have a government that works for all people and not just large campaign donors. We need to make sure that when elderly retire, people are not talking about cutting Social Security. We should be expanding it. We should not be having the highest rate of child poverty of any major country on earth. We need to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour over a period of years. That's what I've been talking about, those issues, for many, many years. I will continue. Hillary will run her own campaign.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you so much. We're doing it right now. We are doing it. See this guy? That's what he does. We're paying him a fortune to organize. He's having meetings all over the state. Robert, how many organizers do we have in Iowa now?
44 on the ground, 14 offices.
We have 14 offices, 44 people. We are beginning to put together the kind of grassroots organization that will enable us to win the caucus here in Iowa.
What does this big crowd at the Iowa State Fair tell you?
You know, it just tells me the same as I've seen all over this country. And that is people have had it up to here. They are sick and tired of seeing this great nation. A great nation like ours, where almost all of the wealth and income are going to the top 1% while the middle class continues to disappear. They are sick and tired of a campaign finance system that allows the Koch brothers and billionaires to literally buy elections. People do not fight and die to defend American democracy, to have a handful of billionaires deciding who senators and presidents will be.
Would you welcome Vice President Biden to this race?
I have known Joe Biden for decades. He is a very decent guy. He is a friend of mine. If he gets in, that's great. If he doesn't get in, that's great. That's his decision. If he gets in, I look forward to an issue-oriented campain.
Final question here. Are the emails in the private server a distraction or a legitimate issue for Democrats to consider?
Speak to Hillary about that.
No, but Democrats are saying it's a general election liability.
This way.
Wait,
This way.
all right, we're going the wrong way.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Give him a room, guys. Leave the gap. Leave the gap. Leave the room.
Oh, that awesome. My speech was not packaged. And the reason, as I understand, they brought out more people to this so-called package than any other candidate is precisely because we are talking about real issues. And what real issues are is the fact that the middle class of America is disappearing. We have the highest rate of childhood poverty of any major country, and almost all of the new income and wealth is going to the top 1%. That is a real issue. A real issue is that our campaign finance system, and let me underline the word, don't misquote me on this, it is a corrupt system. The United States, it is corrupt.
Who are the corrupt people?
The Supreme Court that gave us Citizens United created a system in which billionaires can buy elections. The United States can no longer go around the world and lecture countries on democracy when what our country is becoming is a system in which billionaires can spend unlimited sums of money to elect the candidates.
You used the word corruption. So who's corrupt? The billionaires?
The
people taking
system,
the money?
no.
The
The
system's
system
corrupt,
is
but not
corrupt.
any of the people.
Look, they are obeying the law. The Koch brothers are going to spend more money than the Democrats and Republicans. Is that illegal? No. The Supreme Court said they can do that. I'm talking about a corrupt system.
Is it an instance, though, of corruption if one of your rivals or any of your rivals has a super PAC that accepts money from billionaires?
I think the whole entire system is corrupt. I don't know. I think I may be. I'm not sure. The only candidate that doesn't have a super PAC. And we are going to try. And let me tell you, it ain't easy.
But presumably, if the system is corrupt, and there's a corruption there, if a candidate for president, Republican or Democrat, is taking unlimited donations from billionaires, that would seem to be the perfect example of what you're talking about. That would seem to be a corrupt
No,
act.
the system is corrupt. And where people will tell you, hey, the system allows me to do that, I will do that. They're not breaking the law. Super PAC is what the law says. What I am talking about is, and I think you're seeing, by the way, across the political spectrum, not just progressives, conservatives, are saying, what sense does it make when one family, an extreme right-wing Koch family, can spend more money than either the Democratic or Republican parties? And what the media, I think, has got to do is finally call a spade media. That is not democracy. That is called oligarchy, where you have a nation in which a handful of billionaires control the political process.
Equally true for Tom Steyer and George Soros?
Yes, it's true for any billionaire. Right? But clearly in this election, most of the money is going to come from Republicans. But the idea that any billionaire can have this outsized influence makes no sense at all to me.
I was standing right next to you up there while you were giving that speech. You got a yellow piece of paper in your hand, which you never looked at, but you kept holding on to. What's on that paper?
Top secret, I can't tell you.
Can you email it?
FBI
Can you email it to
investigation.
us? I know you think the long-term prospects for the economy aren't good because of the imbalances that you see. What's your view of how the economy is doing now in the short term?
Look, let's be very clear. Let's not forget, and I'm afraid the American people to some degree have forgotten, where we were when George W. Bush left office. We were hemorrhaging 800,000 jobs a month. You know, people complain now, we only grew 250,000 jobs. Hell of a lot better than losing 800,000 jobs, which is what we were doing when Bush left office. World's financial system on the verge of collapse. $1.4 trillion deficit. Are we better today in terms of the economy than we were when Bush left office? The answer, I think everybody has got to concede, is yes. But what is also going on is that for the last 40 years, the American middle class continues to disappear. Youth unemployment, African American youth unemployment today, real unemployment, is 51%. We have elderly people trying to make it on $12,000, $13,000 Social Security, and you got Republicans talking about cutting Social Security rather than expanding it. So I think the nerve that I am touching is simply telling the truth, and people are nodding their heads and saying, yeah, the economy is not going well for me or for my mom or for my kids. And that's kind of what this campaign is about. Maybe last question.
An Iowa-specific question.
Yeah.
You spent the last week, you were out on the West Coast, had huge crowds, tens of thousands of people, right?
Yeah.
You get here, you were just in Boone this morning, just a few hundred people.
No.
Is that a letdown?
Are you kidding me? Boone, Iowa, we had 600 people. Does anybody know the population of Boone, Iowa? That's a good part of Boone, Iowa. That's a great crowd.
Before you go, these people have not heard your monster imitation. Can you get... Thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you, guys. Mike, thank you. Moving this way. Bernie. Thank you. It's my copy. One of my organizers. Give it to somebody. Thanks so much. You should turn Bank Street. Mention the 28 pages. But you heard about it, right? Yeah, there's House and Senate resolution. Tell the truth to people.
Okay, where are we? Watch it, guys. Watch it. Watch it.
Good job, brother. Good catch.
Hi, Bernie. Welcome to Iowa.
You got it.
Watch it.
Here comes the man.
28 pages. Sliding around, brother.
Whoa!
You'll be okay. You okay?
Step back, please! Path, make a path!
get up and get a door? It's on the left side of the Evan's coming to the door. You gotta let me in, no problem. Whoa!
Okay, anybody sign anything?
That's all I got. That's all I got. That's why I need you, man. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all. Pen, I borrowed somebody's pen. Okay, good. Okay.
Sorry. Free speech, Bernie. President.
nothing is satisfactory until we end institutional racism, until we create a criminal justice system, which is a heck of a lot better than the system today. It's an issue that has to be focused on. It's easy to get speeches, but try to do that.
Senator, thank you.
I didn't get it.
What's the last thing? ABC. Oh, let's do ABC. All right, then we won't do it. Let's go.
I have 3 minutes to run back and see for the other side.
Where's Jeff?
Stick out there, catch up to him, Levi. Right on him. Right on him. There you go. Right there. Stay right there.
Thank you, Bernie.
Thank you very much.
Watch your hands.
Let me just... Hey, hold on.
We believe in you, Bernie.
Hello. Who's the assistant? Yeah, that's the one.
Pretty hot day.
It's a very photographed root beer.
Jay wants to press his on.
You're going to be one of the most famous root beer deliverers in the country.
Thank you.
I just let you know I think we're
I may need a few. Okay. What do we owe you? 4. Okay, thank you. Okay, woo. See, my shirt is up.
How is it, Bernie?
Good.
All right.
Bernie, can I have a picture? Can we get a selfie, please? Selfie. Thank you.
I'm the leading state sponsor of terrorism.